Can I do a selfie?
3,
Not yet.
2, you're live.
Deandra, that's you. Welcome and thank you for tuning in to Atmosphere and Conversation. I am Deandra with Sheena and Devisha.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Today we are talking about National Gun Violence Awareness Day, also Survivors Day. Today we are wearing orange to represent those two things. We have a survivor's mom here, Deandra Yates. We're going to introduce her in a moment. And this was something that her son is a gun violence survivor. This actually happened 16 months to the day, yesterday. And so that was around February 1st of 2014. We'd like to introduce Deandra Yates.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Thank you for having me.
Hi. Thank you for being here.
No problem.
Oh, thank you for coming. We
It's a
appreciate you
pleasure.
coming. We
Pleasure.
appreciate it. Have a seat here.
Thank you.
Would you like something to drink?
I sure will.
Okay, there's something there.
All right, that's a way to go.
Would you like yours here?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So how's things going?
Things are going good.
Good,
It's a
good.
process, but I'm doing well.
Very
Doing
well.
good.
Very good, very good. Okay. So we just want to talk to you and you can tell us your story. So we just want to start off by saying if you want to take us back to that day.
All right. So my son Deandre was shot and severely injured on February 1st, 2014. That morning, he had stayed the night with a friend on that Friday with one of my best friends and her kids. And she had came to my house that Friday night, and she was supposed to bring Dre and her son. And she said, oh, they didn't want to come. They wanted to stay at my house. I said, okay, that's fine. Dre didn't have his cell phone or anything. He had left his book bag in my car. So I said, that's okay. So the next morning, her and I, we go out shopping. It was half off at the Goodwill.
All right.
First of the month.
Yes,
I always
ma'am.
know. First
Yes.
Saturday of the month.
That's the best sound.
So I remember taking my younger son to the barbershop. And his barber at the time was is a friend of mine. And he asked, you know, what you doing tonight? You want to hang out for my birthday if you have a babysitter? And I said, yeah. I said, Darius is going over to my mom's and Dre's going to a party. And he was like, a party? He was like, no, D, I don't think so. It's too much going on in the city. By that time, I think we probably were at 10 homicides already. And I was like, oh, you're right. So when me and her went out shopping, I said, you know, I don't think I'm going to let Dre go to that party. I said, something just don't feel right. I just don't think so. So while we were out shopping, I called Dre. He was at her house. And he said, Mom, I have a headache. How ironic. Never gets headaches. My younger son gets headaches. And I said, well, take some Tylenol or something, and I'll check on you when I get back. And I said, are you sure you're okay? He was like, yeah. I said, is your brother getting on your nerves? He said, no. And I'm saying all this because this is one of the last conversations I had with my son where he was able to talk back to me. And I said, well, Mom will check on you when I get there. So we get back to the house, and I say, you know what, Dre, just come home with me and your brother. You don't have to go. You can go to your granny's if I go out. And he's like, but Mom, I just want to go, I want to go. And I was like, oh, I just don't feel right about it. Well, everybody's going to be there, Mama. You know, the guilt trip that kids give us. And I said, well, okay, Dre, you can go. But here's the deal. Keep your hands to yourself. Not that he was a bad child, but you never know how they act when they're with other people. So I said, if a little girl tries to dance on you or anything, throw your hands up. I said, do not touch her. You won't put your hands on her, nothing. And I said, for any reason that you end up in juvenile, I will see you on Monday morning.
Oh.
And we live 2 blocks down. Not that Dre had ever been in any kind of trouble like that,
Right.
but as a mom, that was my least concern. I never knew how my life was going to change after that conversation. So he was like, oh, you're always so hard on me. I said, well, Dre, Mommy just loves you. And I said, I need the address to where this party is. Matter of fact, let me just drop y'all off at the party. Next thing you know, we're headed out. 4 or 5 kids come to the door ready to go to the party. There was already 3 at the house. And my friend said, well, why don't I take them? Because she has a truck. She said, I'll take them. And I said, well, you got to ask questions, talk to the mother, get some information from me. Because I was going on her strength of, you know, these people. I personally did not know them. And so she said, okay, I'll check everything out for you. I'll check everything out. So I said, okay. Took my other son, dropped him off, went out. I was at a friend of a friend's apartment. I felt this explosion in my stomach, and I was drinking Remy. Had never drank Remy before, so I said, oh, it's probably just the Remy, you know. Literally felt an explosion in my stomach. So I text my friend's daughter. I said, how's Dre? How's the party? She said, the party's cool and Dre is fine. But I texted her at 11 o'clock. She texted me back at 11:14. So by this time, my friend is getting ready to go get them. My friend calls me at 11:47 and says, get to Riley Hospital. Dre's been shot. I remember standing in that apartment, and I threw my phone in the air, and I said, it was almost like I told you so. Remember I said I had that feeling all day that something wasn't right. Then I had the explosion in my stomach. No one can tell me that that wasn't the time, the minute that my son was shot. It's just that mother's intuition. He's my firstborn. It's just that connection that I have.
Right.
So at this time, I didn't know where, how, anything. So I ran down the steps. I ran around the apartment complex, and I was like, get me to my son. I was trying to get in my car. I couldn't get in my car. It was locked, and we were on the 3rd floor. So he drives me. We get in the car, and I remember it was on 96th and Ditch. I hate driving down Ditch Road beyond 82nd Street. I can't do it anymore. And I said, we got to go get my other best friend lived up the street from there. I said, I can't do this without her. Mind you, I still don't know how bad. It's just the fact that he's been shot. He's 13 years old. I don't care if it was his toe.
Right.
So I go get her. I'm calling her, and she wasn't answering. Her boyfriend said, well, Deandra keeps calling. Why don't you answer the phone? So I said, girl, Dre's been shot. Can y'all please go with me? I can't do this by myself. So I get to her house, and I collapsed walking through the door. I hit the ground. And I remember her boyfriend saying, Deandra, you gotta get up. We gotta get up. We gotta get to Dre. We gotta get to Dre. So me and her hop in the car. Not knowing, I don't know why he took the way that he did, my friend. We drove right by the scene of the crime. But at this time, I didn't know. I didn't know exactly where it was. He got shot on Kessler and 65 in that new housing addition right there on Ellsworth Drive. And I had no idea. Coming from Ditch, we were like, why did we even go with Kessler? So I remember I had my friend in the backseat calling people. I was like, please call my mom. I can't do it. My mother lived across the street where you used to live in those apartments. She didn't hear anything. She did not know her grandson had been shot steps from her front yard. And I had her call my mom. I remember calling my grandmother, my brother, and him. And then I remember balling up in the front seat saying, I think I'll just kill myself because I let him go to the party. I think I just might as well just die right now. Still not knowing how bad it was. It's just the thought. So my friend, he's saying, get her on the phone. Find out where he's been shot. What are we driving into? Had no idea. Get to Riley Hospital. Went to the old side. I had no idea about a new side. I used to work there, but that part wasn't completed. I'm not a frequent flyer at Riley. So here it is, almost midnight now. I'm trying to pull the doors open. Pull the doors open. And my friend's like, get up, get up. I'm on the ground, banging, banging. So happened a chaplain comes through. So happened I know him. I used to go to church with him. And he was like, I know where your family is. Let me take you.
Wow.
Oh my God. So he took me around to the emergency room entrance, and a sheriff meets me at the door and says, ma'am, I'm sorry, your son's been shot in the head. And I fainted. I never fainted a day in my life. I said, shot in the head? Like, who would shoot a 13-year-old innocent child in the head? And he was like, he's been cleared. You know, everybody said he had nothing to do with anything. Your son was just standing by a bay window when a bullet flew from outside and pierced him in the back of his car. I need you to identify the body.
Oh my gosh.
I said, identify a body? Whose body? And my mom said, I'll do it, I'll do it. My family beat me there. His dad's family beat me there. And my mom said they wouldn't do anything until I got there. So they did basic things to keep him alive, but as far as any surgeries or anything like that. So I said, I can't. I don't know if you all have kids, but to hear your child's been shot and then shot in the head. When you let him go to a 15-year-old's birthday party, is life changing. I was not ready to face whatever was in that ER room. So my mom goes back there and she comes out screaming. She's like, it's him, it's him. I saw his foot dangling off the bed. And she said, I know his foot. I know my baby's feet. And she touched it. Dre's feet are always clammy. And she said, that was Dre. And I'm like, well, why do we have to identify him? Well, they needed us to identify him so that they could start surgery. Dre was shot in the back of the head. He had internal bleeding that was going outward. His left cranial had to be removed so he wouldn't die. So I didn't know that at the time, but I'm just signing papers. So I remember them wheeling him down the hallway, and I seen them rushing, but I didn't know it was my son, and I just turned my back. I was like, I can't do anything else. And I remember my aunt saying, oh my gosh, she calls me Andra. Andra, he looks so good. He doesn't look like he's been shot. And I was like, okay, you know, I started praying. I mean, I'm going to tell you what, I grew up praying. I grew up in Sunday school. I grew up in church. But I never knew I had that in me. I prayed and I prayed. And I said, God, as you raised Lazarus from that grave, so let it be that you raised my baby out of that hospital bed. And they came down and she said, I'm going to do my best, but all he has on his side is age. Your son probably won't make it. And I said, just do what you got to do. And my mom said, lady, if you just get him in that surgery, God's going to take care of the rest. You just get him back there.
That's right.
And I think the surgery was about 5 hours where they had to remove his skull. And she came out and she called me and my mom, his dad, and his dad's mom in the room. This little bitty room. I'm claustrophobic, so that about killed me. And it was already rough. And she was like, so he made it through surgery. A lot of swelling. She said we didn't find a bullet lodged in there, so it must have got out. They honestly think that a bullet just penetrated his skull. He had 8 strokes. She showed us on the screen. He had a stroke on his brainstem. Your brainstem controls every function in your body. The last to go is breathing. So she was like, if he survives, he will be nothing to you guys. But we're going to give it some days. I said, okay. So that's day 1, first few hours. The next day, he's in intensive care unit. I don't think I realized that my son was on life support until probably day 3. So day 2, we're all still at the hospital. Me and my mom slept in the ICU unit every single night my mom stayed with me for 7 days, and then I stayed there for 37 days. They had this monitor in his head. It was a screw sticking out. Right here, you can see it. This is Dre on day 2 of injury. I went in there and I took a picture. So that's day 2 on life support. He's on life support. He's on a kidney filter. He's on trach, just all kind of stuff. So this thing was my arch enemy, that screw sticking out of his head, because it was cranial pressure. Cranial pressure for a normal person is 11. Dre's kept ranging between 25 and 20. 20 and 21. 26 is death.
Wow.
A few hours before this, he reached 27. So it was about 6 in the morning. I remember calling my brother and I said, what are we going to do without Dre? Everybody needs to get back here. He's probably not going to make it. His cranial pressure is greater than 21. And so everybody, all my friends, everybody came up there and we just began to pray. I remember putting something on Facebook and I was like, I need y'all to pray now. The doctor keeps saying he won't make it. She was like, if he doesn't die from a traumatic brain injury, then he'll die from lung complications. To this day, I still don't know what was wrong with his lungs, but I'm imagining that they just filled up with fluid. I'm not sure. He was very, very swollen. His kidneys actually went into failure. Liver went into failure. Every organ was starting to shut down. So day 5, they called us in to a conference room and they said, so that whole week they kept telling me, you probably need to make a decision. In so many words they were telling me that. He's just not going to be the same. He won't ever be the same. And I would just say, okay. I never would give them an answer. I said, okay. So I remember it was a Friday. So he was shot on a Saturday. That following Friday, they called us into a conference room. So I took my mom and grandparents and everything, his dad's family. And they said, okay, so we're day 5. Cranial pressure is not reducing. So that means whatever he'll be is going to be far worse than what we thought. However, all organs have recovered. If we could give this kid a brain transplant, he would be the same kid. Prayers work. So his kidneys started recovering within 5 days. Liver, lungs, the swelling began to go down. But they said if we had to measure from 1 to 10, his brain is a 9.5. No function. Except the 0.5.
Okay.
It showed me on the monitor. You know how you see somebody flatline? He would get a little pump every now and then. And I said, okay. And they said, you don't have to decide now, but we're going to have to make some decisions. You know, medical costs is rising, different things like that. To this day, I believe they wanted those recovered organs for a healthier person. And I said, okay, I remember taking notes. And I never really said anything. His grandpa asked a couple questions. I said, okay, thank you. 2 hours later, I didn't spend a lot of time in Dre's room. It's just heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking even looking at it now. But it was cold, a lot of beeping, and that watching that cranial pressure. They took him for an MRI. So at one point in time in that week, the cranial pressure reached 47. So we're deaf times 2. So I didn't spend a lot of time back there. But after that meeting, I went back there and he opened his eyes for the first time. And I know he was saying, Mama, fight for me.
Fight for me.
Mama, fight for me. And I remember running into ICU. And I said, y'all, he just looked at me. He does big brown eyes. You can see him on here. I said, he just looked at me, and I know he said, fight for me. There was never anything in my heart, my mind, my spirit that would have ever told them to pull the plug on my son. No, there was nothing. If his organs had started reversing, maybe. But thanks be to God, they came back to the healthy side, and I knew. And so when he opened his eyes, I said, there's not a chance that I will ever pull the plug. However, a week later, Dre got weaned off of life support. I could have pulled the plug, but he started breathing on his own. I remember going in that room, and I said, you know, the Bible says if we have faith as a mustard seed, we can cast that mountain into the sea.
That's right.
That's a combination of 2 scriptures. And so I went back there, and I looked at that life support machine, and I said, I cast that one to the sea.
Speaking into existence.
Yes, I spoke it into existence.
That's right.
I said my son will breathe on his own.
Speaking into
And I
existence,
spoke it
Mother.
into existence, y'all. 2 days later, I remember being back in that room, and they do their rounds, and they're saying all the stuff, but you have no idea what they're talking about. And I heard them saying, let's do a trial run and see if we can survive on a sleep apnea mode, which is like a CPAP. So they did that. He was breathing. He was breathing room air, even though he had the trach. And the next day, they was like, this kid doesn't even need life support anymore. Took him off life support. Remind you, cranial pressure hit 47. That day, Dre's cranial pressure went to 11.
Woo! Oh my God.
Then it dropped to 9.
Won't he do it? Won't he do it?
Won't he do it? And then I see them start screwing that thing out of my baby's head. They said there is no need for this anymore.
Bless God.
Yes, totally God. If you didn't believe in a miracle, there's one right there.
Right there. Right there. Right there.
There's one right there.
Right there.
So after that, he got to move to comprehensive care. So we got out of the ICU unit. Thank God. It's sad stuff in there. I seen parents. I seen one child rolled out of there with the white sheet who didn't make it. I seen countless parents come in there. One guy told me his son was 22. They've been in there his whole life. Heart issues. 3-month-old had to be lifeline from Kokomo. Had a stroke. I didn't know 3 months old could have a stroke. a lot of heart transplant babies and stuff. And I said, Lord, I can't take all this grief around me. Get me out of here. So he got moved to comprehensive care, which is still sick kids. But at this point, so mind you, Dre didn't have a skull. So without a skull, there's really no function. I remember them sitting him up. It's probably over here, if it's on here. I remember the first time that they set him up, and he was like skin and bones. When he was shot, he was 154 pounds. At 13 years old, 5'7", so a big healthy kid, right here, this size. And this is what he was withering away to, skin and bones, after all the swelling was reduced. But they sent him home to just, they had no faith and hope. Before they sent him home with me, the doctor came in and said, now, are you sure this is what you want to do? Because I went to visit a nursing home for kids, is what I call it. I won't say the name. It's despair.
Despair.
Oh, my God. And I remember me and his dad walking through just tearing up, and I said, there's no way. And his auntie's a nurse. She said, bring him home. We'll take care of him, and we'll pray with him every single night. She was like, he's not my child. It's not my decision, but bring him home. And she stuck to her word. She came over once a week, helped me take care of him. But before they released him, the doctor came in there. He's like, are you sure this is what you want to do? Look at him. Do you understand the responsibility and the life change you're going to have? Are you sure this is what you want to do? I said, what does he mean? This is the day before release. I am ready to get out of Riley Hospital. I have made my decision. I have told y'all all the services are set up. The bed has been delivered. Get me out of here. And I just remember breaking down crying, and one of my friends was there. I was so glad somebody was there to witness how he was talking to me. And I just took off running. I grabbed my coat, my purse, and I just left. And I called his dad. I said, can y'all please, somebody else come and sit with him. I got to get out of here. Because they were sending him home to expire, to die. So we made it. We made it through that first mountain. Came home, not on life support, but I did take care of my baby for 5.5 months. Me and my family. It's not easy. It's a complete change of life. I have another child. He had to help me change his 13-year-old brother. Dre had to see countless people come in, bathe him, clean him. My home was invaded with nurses. I had nurses for 12 hours a day, 7 days a week.
That's a blessing.
Yeah, that was a blessing.
That was a blessing.
That was, there's just no way. I decided to go back to work. I went to work about a month and a half after he was shot, part-time. I still am part-time. But it was a way for me to get my mind off of it. Every day I would wake up and see my lifeless child laying in my den in a hospital bed. People don't understand the ramifications of gun violence and what it does to our entire family. It injured Dre, but it crippled my heart. It crippled my heart. So I had to talk to him, and he might moan, he might not. I believe he knows who I am. I know he knows who I am because he reacts to me. But to see pain, he had 7 surgeries in 6 or 7 months. He had his skull removed. He had his skull put back in. He had his tendons stretched. He had to get a feeding tube put back in. He had to have fluid aspirated off the back of his head. So just to see him go through so much pain, I can be honest with you and say sometimes I'm like, did I do the right thing? He's going through so much. After the surgery, he swelled up so bad like this. He stayed swollen for about a week. Couldn't move. I had to live a life with a trach. When your child is trach, you don't sleep because you're always worried about the thing popping off, or we had to keep a humidifier on at night. Dre was able to breathe room air, so we didn't have to have oxygen or anything like that. But it's life changing. And I had this machine, and anytime his heart rate would drop or anything, it would just beep and beep. My grandmother, love her to death, she stayed in my house for probably the first 2.5 weeks. We each took a couch and we laid surrounding him just so we could keep a constant eye on him. It probably took me about 2 months to sleep in my bed. I got a baby monitor with a video camera on it, and I would lay it by my pillow so I could watch his every move and try to get some sleep because, mind you, I was still working. hauling him to doctor's appointments on the care ambulance. We had to raise money for a wheelchair van. Those are terribly expensive. Going and taking him to the hospital without a skull in his head, and everybody's staring at him, looking at him. He would knock the hat off, so eventually he got movement back in this arm, and he would knock the hat off to scratch his head was indented. There was a dent here because he didn't have anything, so he would rub it. So he would knock the hat off, so like forget wearing a hat. It took 5 months to get a wheelchair that fit him. So he would be stretched all out in the wheelchair, which you can see in some of these pictures. We'd have to hook it up with pillows and towels and stuff so he wouldn't slide out. Strap him down. Just a complete life change. Complete life change. Dre is an amazing kid. Before he was shot, the Thursday before he was shot, he played his first and only 7th grade basketball game. I missed it. Never missed anything my kids have done. And I took a night job. And that night, I said, don't put me on nights no more during basketball season. And she said, oh, we're not, because you need to be at Drake's games. And I remember driving up State Road 37, and my friend's on the phone, and she's like, your son is on fire tonight. He's just getting one shot after another. But when I got home, he's like, Mom, you should have seen me. I killed it, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, I will not miss next week's game. Well, that Saturday, he was shot. It's like, whoever did this, they sucked the life out of us. They've taken away some of his best years from him. It devastated his school, the kids. They dedicated the whole basketball season. They called it Play for Dre. Made it all the way to the this year they made it all the way to the championships. Everything was in Dre's honor. The school dedicated every moment, everything to him.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's just life changing, and I'm so grateful to God that my baby is still here. He's not who he was, but I have faith that he will be.
Yes.
He will be. I can't wait to take him to the doctor who kept telling me he would die next month for his head checkup, his 1 year check, so she can see what he is now. They told me he would be a vegetable, but if you put on music, he will dance in that wheelchair.
Oh, good.
He sees me, his world lights up. He's taking steps on the treadmill.
Oh, good. That's
He's able to feed himself up to 7 bites.
Oh, good.
Wow.
So they boost his arm up. His arm is a little weak, but if they boost it up, he takes it. Every time I go visit him, I feed him because he's away in a neurological rehab out of state. Indiana really didn't have anything good for him like that. And so somebody just overheard one of my friends telling the story and recommended this place, and it is amazing.
Oh,
More
good.
restorative. It is amazing.
Good.
I remember taking him there and crying like a baby, thinking I'm leaving my child with strangers, because I didn't know those people, but they're awesome. They take such good care of him. No bed sores, no issues, and his function is coming back.
Oh,
Right.
good.
That's
That is
awesome.
awesome. That is so good.
It's been a journey. It's been a journey. It's been a journey. So that's our story about the injury and my baby. They delivered he made high honor roll that semester, which is all A's and 1B, and they delivered that to the ICU room when I was in despair. And I remember asking the principal, could we have a funeral at the school? And he was not trying to hear me. He was like, no, Dre's gonna see this through. And I was like, okay, I want him to, but I need to prepare myself just in case he doesn't make it. And he loves the school, he loves his friends. Can we just make these arrangements? And he was like, I mean, if that's what you really want, Miss Yates, but Dre's gonna pull through this.
He had hope.
He had hope.
Good.
He
That's
had
good.
hope.
He had hope. That was good.
Sometimes through that process, my faith might have wavered a little bit. I'm just being honest. When you see cranial pressure 47 and it should be 11, you don't know what you're facing.
Well, you're human.
I'm
Right.
human.
Faith wavers.
Yes.
It wavers.
It wavers.
But God is faithful.
God
Yes,
is faithful.
always.
God has been
Faithful.
faithful. I'm going to tell you something. God has been faithful from getting off life support, because I was thinking, oh God, if that machine has to come home with us, because people live with it. And I was like, I can't. I don't want that to come home. Getting him into a good, solid rehab. We had therapists come to our house and tell his nurses while I was at work, this kid will never be nothing. I'm not coming back. They didn't want to work with him. They didn't want to do anything with him. My baby has full feeling now in his body. So they label him a spastic quadriplegic, which is paralyzed from the neck down. No, that was his diagnosis before rehab because he did just lay there. He has movement of his arms.
Oh, good.
They said when he showers, he squirms, so they know he feels every sensation of the water. He's lifting his arms a little bit to help get dressed, and as I said, he feeds himself. So that's no longer a quadriplegic because he has the upper body movement and he has lower limb feeling. I used to sit at home and pinch him like, oh, just make a movement. Just tell me you can feel me. Just tell me you can feel me or something. So he does have feeling all in his body now. So yeah, God has been faithful. He has seen us through. And I'm just going to say, if you don't have faith, I don't know how you make it through something like this.
Right.
There's no way I would be an alcoholic somewhere, bent over, crying every single day, can't get out of my bed. Because yes, I have my son, but I do not have this Deandra that I used to. And every day of my life, the story plays in my head. Every morning I wake up, I look in the bedroom that he's supposed to be in, and I cry out in my heart, why is he not there? When we moved in the house, he was already hurt, so he hasn't got to enjoy our new home or anything like that. But God always reminds me he is faithful. He is still here, and because he's still here, Drake still has a chance.
That's right.
And no one can ever tell me he'll never be nothing again.
Right.
I have faith that he's going to walk again. I have faith that he's gonna call me mama again.
Yeah.
I'm full of faith. You can't stop this, mama, because I believe. You know. I called him the other day and he was breathing real hard, and I was like, I know you want to say something. I know you want to say something, but as always, you will. One day you'll say something, and sometimes he'll go, you know, he stutters. He tries to get words out, so he's trying. He's a fighter like never before. Me and my brother always joke. He used to be so scary and wimpy. And he was like, I never knew this kid had so much strength and tenacity. He fought back from the brink of death.
So much resilience.
So much resilience.
So much resilience. It just sounds like it. And it sounds like you have a lot of resilience. I mean, you do. You have it. It's in you. You're very strong. Yes.
Where it came from.
Yes. You have a lot
I have
of
an
resilience.
amazing family, and just all their prayers and stuff have just poured into me and giving me strength like I never knew I had. And people always say, oh, you're so strong. And I said, I don't think myself no better than any other mother. I think I would do what any other good mother would do.
That's exactly.
And that is to fight for her child.
Exactly.
And believe until all hope is lost. I will believe.
Right.
I will believe. I just don't think I'm doing anything that you wouldn't do for your babies.
Yeah.
I just don't think so.
Yeah.
And you know, I always say I understand the other side. If someone did decide to pull the plug, I've lived in the shoes where I don't have a life. I have to take care of my baby. When that nurse leaves at 6, I am in the house the rest of the night. There's nothing. That's it for me. And I was 30 years old when this happened. 31 years old when it happened. And I was like, this ain't how it's supposed to be. Dre's about to be 14. He can stay at home with his brother. I can, get out a little more, That got snatched away from me. That got snatched away from me. But that's the life that I chose. And, some parents, they choose to let their kids go to the home or let them go. And I respect that. But for me, that wasn't an option.
Right.
That wasn't an option.
So tell us about the person who shot him.
I wish I knew.
So is it still under investigation?
Dre's case is an open case.
Wow.
I don't have a lot of information about it. There was a fight at the party. Had nothing to do with my baby. And it is believed that one of the people that got put out of the house may have came back and shot the house up. 22 shell casings. 22 shell casings.
I'm sorry?
22 shell casings were found. 22.
So was your son the only one got shot?
Only one, in such a severe injury. So I've heard Dre was standing up in the middle of a crowd of people dancing. Had he been moving, it would have went the other way. I heard people heard the shots outside, and Dre was running and fell trying to get out the house. That he fell between the living room and the kitchen, and there was a back door that the kids were trying to get in. I heard just over the weekend somebody told me he was sitting down and it pierced him. I don't know. I really don't even know what kind of gun. It had to be powerful to come from the outside, shatter the window, and make it to my baby. But right now, we don't know who did this. I will say, for people watching, there was at least 50 witnesses. He was not masked. He was not hooded. A lot of somebodies know who shot my baby.
Wow. Yes, they do.
A lot of somebodies know who shot my baby. I understand that people get scared and they get intimidated. So one part of me says, well, I can sympathize with these parents not letting their kids come forward. But on the other hand, I can't imagine seeing somebody suffer like this and I stay quiet.
Right.
I just
not say
can't.
nothing as a parent and just know that your child knows and you know the information too. How do you not say something?
I'm just thinking about it because it's always the right time to do the right thing and to say the right thing. How do you just ask a child
To be quiet.
to be quiet? It's never the wrong time to do the right thing. Someone needs to step up and do the right thing.
Somebody needs to step and do the right thing.
Now, the people's house this happened at, now, how supportive, or what is the relationship between you guys now?
There is no relationship. They came to the hospital and were very apologetic. I don't fault them. Why did it have to be so many people? Why did they allow their son to put it on social media? Why? Then I found out they were charging. So I don't know what that was about, if they were trying to make money. However, I can say in my heart that they never intended for something so tragic to happen. I can say that. But I just choose not to have a relationship with them just because legal issues and just different things like that. I mean, I don't know.
Right.
You just
Very
don't
understandable.
look at some people the same way.
Right? How beneficial would the relationship be?
Yeah,
Knowing
and
how
I didn't
much-
know them beforehand, so there's no need for them to be my best friends now.
Exactly.
Sent prayers my way and things like that, and I know people that know them, and they told me that they're very sympathetic. However, they know who shot my son. I don't know if
Wow.
if this person intimidated them and scared them, so they're scared for their own safety. But I'm pretty sure they know who shot my son, but they won't positively identify anyone.
I don't see how they rest at night. And at the end of the day, a good man finds peace. And how can you sleep and live and walk and breathe knowing that you don't have peace because you know?
In all things, I believe time. In time, all
In
things will
time,
be
things-
revealed.
Yep, I think so.
So I believe that. I go back and forth with justice for Dre, because mostly I just want to see Dre better. So I spend my spare time going to visit him and speaking like I'm doing now, because I don't want another mother to hurt the way that I have, the way that other mothers I have begun to work with have. And if I could use Dre's story to penetrate one young man or young woman to make a good decision, then his shooting wasn't in vain. And I just believe in finding purpose for my pain, because the pain is great, and Dre's pain is 10 times greater.
Right.
So my focus now is, how can we get gun laws changed where these idiots who are circulating guns illegally on the streets to kids, or how felons keep getting guns back in
Right.
their hand.
Right,
Or
that's-
a lot of states don't do background checks, so anybody can just walk in and get a gun. You can have an assault rifle in the state of Indiana and not be licensed. One of my friends, Nicole, her son, was shot and killed, shot in the head by somebody with an assault rifle.
Wow.
But you have to have a license
To
to
do-
fish.
Okay, you have to have a
Right.
license to
To
do
fish.
everything, to
You
drive.
can go to Walmart and get a rifle
Yep.
and strap it across you and walk out and shoot somebody.
Right.
Or deer, if that's what you choose. But we need gun laws changed.
We do.
We need stiffer penalties for felons. I was told because Dre wasn't the intended target, this person would get aggravated assault, not attempted murder, which holds 20 years, but I have talked to parents whose shooters have gotten aggravated assault. They get out in about 5 to 8 years. Yeah.
That's right.
How?
That's horrible.
How does that happen?
Dre may lose 5 to 8 years.
Right.
How in the world can he give 5 to 8 years for shooting my innocent child in the back of the head and causing him to miss out on football season this year, graduating from 8th grade? However, we are bringing him to 8th grade graduation, so he will get the graduation.
Oh, good.
With his
That's
peers.
good.
I'm excited about
Yes.
that. But that is my mission now. So when Dre was here, I would take him around so kids could see the ramifications of gun violence. But now I'll carry these, or I just tell his story in hopes that we can change one life. And people need to know it can happen to anybody. So my shock from it all was I wasn't raising no kid like that. And the initial report was Dre got in a fight, and it came from his uncle who's an IMPD officer, but he don't really know Dre. I said, oh, you don't know your nephew? And he really don't know him. I said, my baby wasn't at that party fighting. Nobody can come here and tell me Dre was fighting so bad that somebody wanted to shoot him with a gun. Now, has he never been in a fight? Yeah, he's a teen. He got in a fight at school.
Right.
But to fight so bad where somebody wanted to come back and shoot him?
Right.
Absolutely not. So then a sheriff came up to me and said, no, he's been cleared of everything. Your son was unfortunately standing by the window when the bullets flew in from outside. So I need people to know it can happen to anybody and it can happen anywhere. Where he was shot was a very nice neighborhood, a new subdivision to Indianapolis. Nowhere where people would expect that kind of violence to erupt. So it can happen to anybody. Anybody.
How supportive was IMPD when all this happened?
In the beginning, they were okay. Yeah, they were okay. We did a press conference and things like that, probably the third day after it happened. While I was really fresh, I made a plea to the people at the party, please come out, come out, come out. After that, it just kind of dwindled away. Who's the most supportive is the news stations, Fox, 8, and 13, keeping my baby's story alive. But IMPD, and I know they're busy, but everybody wants to feel like their case is important.
Right.
So I called my detective at the end of January. He called me a week and a half ago. He returned my call a week and a half ago.
Oh, we can have
January
January this year?
February.
I called him
March,
in January
April,
of this year
May.
because I invited him out to the Pray for Dre
This
Day.
is June.
He called me a week and a half ago. He returned my phone call. He said, oh, Miss Yates, I just thought it'd be good that I touch bases with you.
20 weeks later.
So did he say that they were just extremely busy? Because I mean, this year alone, I don't know how many shootings there have been. There have been, I mean,
50
this
homicides.
past weekend it was a shooting with a party.
2 kids, one was shot in the head and one was shot in the buttock.
Yeah.
He just, you know, he's got a lot of cases to work. He's not getting anywhere on this. He can't get anybody to talk. So he just keeps hitting one dead end after another. But he reassured me that it won't be a cold case, and as long as he's a detective, he'll keep working on it. So I emailed him yesterday and I called him. I haven't heard back from him. Maybe I'll hear back from him in September. I don't know.
May,
Right,
July.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I'm not the only one. You know, some moms have great stories I've heard. Detective was on it. Got somebody in. Prosecuted. A friend of mine. Got the person who shot her son. He walked. Went to trial. He walked.
Wow.
Not sure if I even want to live through that.
Right.
But there's other moms I work with. 7, 8 months go by. They don't hear from their son's detective unless they call and raise Cain. And we become who the media wants us to be.
HE double hockey
Yep.
stick.
And that's when we can get some results. I believe somebody wouldn't put a little ear, a bug in his ear, and that's why he called me. I think that's what happened because I was talking to somebody who's familiar with that department, and I think that's why he called me. I don't think he just called me because he was finally getting to that voicemail I left in January.
Right.
I don't think so.
Right.
So I'm not here to bash the police, but as far as the support, you know, I know they have a lot of caseloads and they don't have a lot of detectives. They don't have a lot of officers. They just don't. And so they are being overworked and stuff. But all I would like every few weeks or once a month is, hey, Miss Yates, we're working on it.
Yeah.
Miss Yates, we're trying.
Right.
We're doing
So,
our best. We're
yeah.
working. We're continuing to think about it. Yeah.
And another thing I learned during the process, unless someone comes up and say, I saw him pull the trigger, they don't really follow up on it. which is pretty hurtful because I have heard some things. I've heard names and things like that, but I haven't got him to really go hard or follow up on those things because it's people coming back telling me, and it's people who don't really want to go talk to the police. So it's hard for him to follow up on hearsay. Even though in my heart, I'm like, can you just bring him in and ask him a question? But the last time he responded to me prior to last week, he sent me this long email giving me the breakdown of the judicial system and why he couldn't just bring somebody in, which pissed me off because I'm like, I don't need a breakdown of that. I am a mother who wants justice.
That's right.
At the end of the day.
You want justice for Dre.
I want justice for Dre at the end of the day. And when you hear these names and you hear these people are in and out of jail, you can't talk to them while they're locked up. They're already locked up.
Right.
But no, I told them, I said, they get more respect and more protection than people like my baby. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that. I'm not going to, there's times I wanted to give up on that part of it, but I'm not going to give up. My baby deserves justice. He deserves justice because he should be walking in his graduation on the 23rd, not in a wheelchair. I shouldn't have had to pick colors out and designs out for my baby's wheelchair before his 14th birthday. You know how heartbreaking that is for Riley to email you and say, I need you to pick these colors out quickly. We got to put the order in for wheelchairs. I was so distraught I ordered them backwards, so you probably can see in one of the pictures he has a bright orange wheelchair. Oh, we don't have up-to-date ones. Oh, yes, we do. He has a bright orange wheelchair. I meant to order it blue because he likes the Broncos. So I was trying to do blue and orange, but I was crying at my desk. I was so distraught. I couldn't believe I was ordering a wheelchair for my baby. So you can see Dre coming in his bright orange wheelchair now. So it's a way of life. Have I accepted it yet? No. I don't know if I ever fully will accept it. Well, when he starts walking again, I will. But until then, I can't fully accept it. I don't like saying he's a quad. I don't like saying he's disabled. I don't like using those words.
What's your son?
Yeah, so it's a hard pill to swallow.
So are you working with any awareness groups?
Yes.
Time? Okay.
Yes. So I work with Moms Demand Actions for Gun Sense, which is a national group that was started by Shannon Watts, actually here in Indiana, in Zionsville. After the Sandy Hook shooting, she just was a mom compelled to do something, and it's went to all 50 states.
Wow.
It's an amazing group. I was with them today. They're back in the whole Wear Orange thing. I work with Every Town Survivors for Gun Sense. So it's a group of survivors from all over. As I was telling you guys, a lot of the people from Sandy Hook, the Colorado mass shootings, a lot of mass shootings people, and I've gotten to meet a lot of them. I've met, we had a training back in March, and I met a lot of people who have lost their only children, their only child. I don't know if you guys know who Lucy Macbeth is. Her son was murdered in Florida for the Loud Music case, where the man shot her son because he was in the car with her. So yeah, I've got to work with her and just a lot of other parents who have lost their children. It's an amazing group. But right here locally, I'm so proud of One Shot Survivors.
One
Shot Survivors. That is me, Nicole McGee, Brenda Patton, Paula Holland, and Sarah Anderson Franklin. And we just kind of crossed paths through hearsay and different things, and we decided to form a support group.
Good.
So for the last year, we just kind of been calling each other. Hey girl, I'm having a bad day. I can't make it. Pray for me. Just kind of being each other's backbone. They all have lost their sons. And Sarah, she lost her nephew. I'm the only one whose son is still here. So we have different takes on it. Nicole's the one whose son's murderer was set free. Paula's is getting ready to go to trial, I believe. And then the other two, they don't talk to their detectives no more than I do. So we're just a support group to each other. And then we go out in the community and we do speaking engagements and things that we can do to keep the community aware of what's going on. Sunday, we actually had a meet and greet. We opened up our group to parents from all over the city.
Oh, that's
It
awesome.
was
Cool.
amazing.
Cool.
It was a blessing. We were so nervous, kind of like y'all was earlier. We was
Yeah.
running around like, oh, do we have enough food? Do we got enough money? Yeah, do we got enough? So, oh my God, and that morning, I said, Nicole, our heart is in the right place. God is going to make a way. And she's
That's
like,
right.
well, Jesus, take the wheel. I said, he got it. He got it. And I'm telling you, almost every person that RSVP showed up.
Oh, that's good.
Chaplain Cody was there from IMPD. The coroner was there. Andrea Moorhead was there from Channel 13.
Gosh, yes.
Tommy Smalls was there. So it was we had a great turnout. Barely had enough room. So that was
Look
good.
at that. Look at that.
Yeah, so what we did is we had these parents submit pictures of their lost loved ones. Mostly were men, but there was actually 2 females that had been murdered. And we also had a survivor there who had been shot by her ex-husband.
Wow.
I really connected with her because she's in a wheelchair now.
Wow.
It was amazing. And so what we did is we just got up and introduced ourselves, told about what One Shot is about, and kind of told our stories. And then we opened up the floor for them to share their stories.
Oh,
that's
how awesome.
It was good. And I think that it promoted a lot of healing because what we were finding is people don't have an outlet.
Right.
It's one thing to talk to you guys, but it's
Right.
another thing to talk to a mother whose son has been shot and killed or
Yeah.
shot and severely injured. So it's a special bond and a connection. So when we let these moms get up and speak, or cousins, it was sisters there, cousins there, aunts there that were representing their family members, it was healing in that place. Because a lot of them were emailing us, and we have a Facebook page, it's called One Shot Survivors, and they were saying, I just need help. I'm suffering from depression. I can't get out of bed. And the one mother who said that, she was like the second person to get up and speak, and I was so proud of her because she just had been struggling. So it was amazing. So that's something that we hope will go all over the country, spread through the city. Fox did a report on us about a month ago, and that's really how it kind of blew up the way that it did. And Nicole had this vision of doing a hat project. There, if you go down to the library, there's an exhibit of shoes, and it represents the 135 homicides we had in Indianapolis in 2013. It is so powerful.
I'm familiar
Wow.
with that.
Yes, and
Little
they have,
shoes.
yeah, there were baby
Little
shoes. Yes.
Yes.
And there's this eagle that was made of melted down guns that had been confiscated off the streets. It's a powerful exhibit. So Nicole's vision was, well, everybody who is alive doesn't necessarily have to have feet, but everybody needs a head to be alive. And so we did hats for every person that had been murdered or injured there. And we hope that we can put those hats on display around the city, around the country. We got big dreams, y'all.
Good. And it's
So-
gonna happen.
Good,
It's
good,
gonna
good.
Big
It's gonna
dreams.
happen.
Big things. Big
Yes.
things. Good.
So we're like a survivor network now.
Oh,
So
that's
it was
great.
amazing.
So proud of you guys.
That's
That's
great.
awesome.
Yeah, it's like I always say, it's purpose for pain.
Yes.
And, you know, some of the moms are like, how do you get up and talk? And I said, you know, that's not everybody's gift. But because you're here, you're going to fit in the puzzle somehow.
That's right.
Right.
And we're going to work together.
Right.
My talent may not be your talent and vice versa, but we're going to work together and we're going to form this group.
Yeah.
So we're excited. It went so well, and July 27th will be our next gathering.
Okay.
I told him, I said, it won't always be sad occasions because there was a lot of crying on Sunday. I went home and cried. I cried before I got there. My heart was just heavy. Like,
Right.
I was happy that our dream was coming true of bringing us all together the way that we did. But at the same time, I was sad. Like, why are we getting together? Because all our boys have been killed, you know. But it's gonna work out.
It is.
It's gonna work out. So it went really
That's a
well.
good thing because
Good.
people need support. You never
That's
know
right.
who has a family or who has people need support.
People are hurting
Yes,
They
every
are.
day.
They are. People
People
are
are
hurting
hurting.
all around us.
for multiple reasons.
All
Right.
around us.
And I teach at MedTech, and I always tell my students, if you feel brave enough and compelled enough, share your story.
That's right.
Yeah, that's
Share
right.
your
Share
story
your
because you
story.
don't know who you could help through your strength.
That's right.
There is almost not a day that don't go by where I don't get something on Facebook saying, keep pushing Deandra
That's
because
right.
you give me strength.
Mm.
When I look at Dre, when I go to Dre's page, Dre has a Pray for Dre community page that anybody can have access to. I've kind of separated my private Facebook page, and he has so you can follow all his updates, everything. And so people will inbox me and say, keep pushing your
That's right.
strength. I had a mom, she inboxed me all the time. Her son was shot in a home invasion, and he is now in a wheelchair. And we share stories all the time. And when Dre took those steps on that treadmill, she's like, oh, Mama, just wait. She's like, my son's on a walker now. And I'm like, oh my God.
Good
If I see Dre on a walker, do you know what I would do? Just to see him. I mean, just to see your child erect after they've laid in the bed for months is amazing. So I said, do you know what I would do? So we just help each other and support each other. And that's what it's all about.
That's
We're
all
here
true.
now. So like I told the moms on Sunday, either you give up and lie in defeat and you let that person who shot your baby win,
That's
or
right.
you keep it moving.
And you keep
And you
it
decide to
going.
live through it. And I
Right.
said, because we're all here, we're living through it.
That's right.
Right.
I am choosing to live through it.
You know what? And you are doing a great job.
You're doing a
You
good
are
job.
such
Thank
an
you.
inspiration.
Thank you.
You are doing a great job.
It's
You
by the
really
help of the
are.
Lord. That's
You
all I
really
can
are.
say.
I have watched Dre
You are doing a great
these
job.
last 16 months.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, since today, like, we were at the clinic, and I've watched you, and I'm like, you give me so much inspiration,
Thank you.
motivation.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I never set out to do this. I
Right.
never set out to be inspiring.
right.
Well, maybe so, but not in this
Not
manner.
in this way.
Not in this manner. But I said, if that's what people impart from me, then
Mhm.
it's not in vain.
That's
Right.
No,
You have to
that's
have
right.
that kind of peace, though. Like,
Mm-hmm.
when I look at these pictures and I look at this, because this is about how he is now. He's been in rehab since now, so he has more functioning now. But when I look at this, I have to draw strength from somewhere.
Right.
And so, inspiring people, helping people, encouraging people, I wish it could be my full-time job. One day it is going to
One
be my
day it will
full-time
be.
It
job.
may be.
One day it will be.
And I said, Dre's going to be on the road with me, and we're going to be sharing his story
That's
of,
right. That's
of
right.
triumph.
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
Yeah.
It is coming.
It's coming.
It is coming.
Mm-hmm. So,
So what would you like to tell people, parents, anyone that's watching, that, what would you just, anything that you would like to tell them, just look into the camera and tell them anything.
woo, I have a lot to tell you. I used to say, don't let them go. Don't let them go to the parties. I remember one of my friends, knowing what happened to Dre, posted on Facebook that he was having a 16-year-old a party at some location. People got whiff of it and they started putting on Facebook, I'm going to fight you when I get there, I'm going to do this. Police met them there and shut it down. So people put on Facebook, oh, they just hating on you, blah, 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 because the place won't give him his money back or anything, because it was the day of. He was letting the DJ in to set up, and the police said no. And so I said, really, you guys? I posted this picture right here on his Facebook page. I said, this is every reason why that party needed to be shut down if people were threatening to fight.
That's right.
I don't want anybody's baby ending up like that.
That's right.
Right.
You might not be as strong as I am and be able to handle
That's
it.
right.
I don't want it. So what I say to parents, love on your babies, because you never know.
That's right.
I remember that week, I said, you know what? I'm always in my room doing homework, grading papers. Darius is doing his own thing in his room, and Dre, you're always on that Xbox. He liked to be on the Xbox every day. So that week, I said, we're going to have a family night. It might have been that Wednesday before it happened. I said, we're going to have a family night. And we piled up in Dre's room, which he hated, me and his brother all in his bed and stuff. I said, we're going to have a movie night. And we're just going to lay here and we're just going to enjoy each other. No electronics, no cell phones or nothing. And I thank God I got that opportunity with my baby. We rolled around in the bed. We watched movies. We tickled each other. So I say love on them while you have them. Because as we can see, you can go to school and it could be a mass shooting. You can let them go over a friend's house. I have met moms who let their kids go over a friend's house, got to playing with guns, and their babies were taken away from them. So love on them while you have them. Don't try to be their friend.
That's right.
Be their parent. No means no.
Exactly.
I will never let it hang over my head that I let Dre go, because anything can happen. But if I ever have the opportunity again, no. And I say to people that have been hurt or wounded to don't lie in defeat, but you can find healing and purpose through your pain by reaching out. I don't care if it's depression, sickness, whatever it is. Don't lie in defeat, because I have found so much healing in being outspoken and pressing through my pain. Just pressing forward and pressing through it. And then to people who know who did this to my son, or any other of the moms that I know who have open cases where people won't talk, like you said earlier, it's always okay to do the right thing. You can call 262-TIPS and it will be completely anonymous.
Right.
And no one will ever have to know. But I would beg anybody who was on Ellsworth Drive 2114 and know what happened to my son to call 262-TIPS and say something. And say something, because we want justice for Dre and for every other wounded and hurt mother or parent out there suffering.
Very good.
I commend you.
Thank
for
you.
your
Yes.
strength.
We
I
would just say like,
It
yes.
is, it's just touching just to
Thank
see
you.
you active and push every
Resilient,
day.
just resilient,
And just
just
never give up.
being your son's voice, being his voice, just being
Yeah.
his
I
voice,
say that all the time.
being his
Yes,
I
voice.
said I will never be quiet because
That's right.
somebody took his voice
That's
from
right.
him.
You
And I
have
said,
to
when
be
he
his
starts back
voice.
talking, I'll still be his
That's
voice.
right.
Exactly.
I still
That's
won't
right.
be quiet.
That's right.
Exactly. Exactly.
But I am. I have to be.
We appreciate you today. We really do.
Yes.
Yes, thank
This
you.
day,
It's been
we
an honor
appreciate
to
you
have you on the
coming.
show.
I am
Our
honored
first
to be
interview.
here.
Thank
It's
you.
been
Thank you
awesome.
so much.
Thank you
I
so
am honored
much.
to be here. Y'all have no idea how excited I was.
Thank you.
We are excited to have you
Thank
here.
you.
This is nice. We just love it.
Thank you. And I say best of luck to you guys pursuing your dreams and
Thank you.
doing
Thank
what you know, because interviewing people like me and getting the story out there and keeping our stories alive and, you know, sharing people's hurt and pain is healing for somebody who's watching.
Exactly.
So I
Somebody
thank
out
God
there
for
is
you all
watching.
for creating the platform
That's right.
And
for
that's
people
probably
like me.
motivation.
You're
Just
welcome.
that one story can motivate another
You're
person
welcome.
that's
You
been through
are
the
so
same
welcome.
thing.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope the right person's hearing me. I hope and pray the right person's hearing me.
I'm praying too.
It was-
Definitely.
This was awesome.
Good.
Thank you so much, Deandra.
Thank you.
Thank
all.
you. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much for offering. She kept inboxing me like, can you call me? I'm like, I'm on my way to Myrtle Beach. I will call you when I get off the plane. I got to Myrtle Beach and forgot all about it. But I thank you for staying
you.
persistent
Thank you.
and making sure that I called you. And she called me early in the morning.